Start. My name is Joe Bhikram, living in Toronto since 1995. I suffered a major brain damage, a stroke, in 1998. My right body is completely crippled since then. Yet, in 2005, the Human Rights Office in Toronto had me arrested, and I was condemned to Don jail for 5 days of torture, beatings, and mocking. And when I came out, they dropped the charge. Then again, that's by 52 Division in Toronto. They're the ones who laid the charge. David Browell. And then in 2009, January 28, please remember the date, January 28, 2009, 8 cops from 12th Division came to my home, and they came to my apartment. They kicked my cat aside. I was just in my underpants, sitting in my wheelchair, and they told me I'm under arrest. So I went to the bedroom to take some medication. I suffered 7 car accidents previously. And while I was there trying to get a medication, one of them dragged me to the floor. He kicked my foot and he dragged me to the floor, and he pinned me down to the floor as Sheila Richardson, the sergeant, she placed her boot on my ass to pin me down. And then afterward, they lifted me up like a black bird, my face down, and took me to the living room. And I guess what they did, they dropped me to the floor. And I screamed so loud in pain, I wish I was dead. I wish I was dead. So lying there, I saw my cat crawling around in pain. And then they lift me up, put me into the wheelchair, and they put a handcuff on me in the front. I put a mask on my face, and then they took me to the hallway, and where I saw my neighbor and asked her to help me, and they would not let her speak to me. They said, he's under arrest, he's not allowed to speak to nobody. And then they took me to the lobby, 11-story building, tenants coming in and out. I was there naked, and they brought a blanket and put it over my shoulder. And for about 45 minutes, I stood there as they giggled, crying and moaning and begging people to help me, and people were so scared. But after about 45 minutes, a panic wagon came with a cold winter day, January 28, 2009. They drove me to 52 Division. When I get there, they booked me into a large cell. And when I was in the cell, one cop stayed with me, a white, tall, skinny cop stayed with me. And I was trying to get up from my wheelchair to stretch out because my joints were getting stiff. And I tried to flex my body, and I fell to the floor. And there I lied, and I was having semi-coma state, moaning and groaning, and nobody helped me until about 15-20 minutes later. A beautiful detective, Paul Ward, an English detective, came in. He leaned down and he said to me, I'll get you out tonight, Joe. I'll speak to a judge to let you out free today. And then he turned to the white cop and asked him to help me remove the handcuff to help me back to the wheelchair. And he refused. And I lied there for another couple of hours. And when I start regaining some strength and awareness, I start crawling back to my wheelchair. About 4 or 5 times I tried to get up and I keep falling. And this white cop went to the toilet. He had a urine. And he came back with his penis dangling. And he shook it. He shook remaining piss on my right face and back of my head. And he started laughing. And then I got up to the wheelchair, and I was so scared. I knew they were going to kill me because I know they had videos there. And he pissed at me, they're going to kill me for sure. But in my mind, I thought, Paul Ward is beautiful, to see if he's there, he's probably going to save me. And then after, I went to one of the side chair, and I dressed with my PJ. They took PJs from my home, and I dressed, and that's the video they disclosed. That part of the video in which I was clothed, but the other 3 hours video where I was naked, handcuffed, and the police pissed on me, they said they destroyed the video. Bill Blair, the chief of police, was told by the SIU I was injured, and they wrote a letter to Bill Blair on the 17th of April 2009 that I was injured. I was in the hospital. I was suffering a fractured hip, and I was bleeding profusely, and yet the police Freedom of Information said they destroyed the video May the 28th, 2009.